It is Lord Haywire. I am streaming some 2D4X game. Uh, my hotkey to start the stream is the same as delete a line. I should probably change that. So yesterday we got the AI to build a building for each county that each faction has. The problem is that it's not checking to see if it's been already built. So we gotta write that first, and then we got some other things on this. I'm opening this up, but you guys can't see it. We gotta make it check first to make sure that it's not being built yet. So we could put it in. So this is I made this last night where it checks through all of these. It says this is the AI part. So it's checking to see if it wants to build. Is there enough food first, and then it does this. But we needed to check that the thing's already been, if it's already been built. And this is gonna be a problem long run, but because it's hard coded in here that the possible buildings too, and if we change the order, it's gonna be a problem. Right now, we're gonna just kick that down the road. This is an idea, but this list isn't going to match the other list. We could hard code this in, and let's say it's 0. If 0 is being built as false, and this, but if it exists, if building 0 exists, then we would know. But the problem with that is that what happens when the building's not building 0 and it's building 1? So we probably need a for loop that goes through the list of current buildings and sees if any of them are a garden shack. Is there enough food? If not, build a garden shack. So that is what we're gonna do. Like, this is all very clunky, and it's gonna like all break. As we're gonna have to come up with a better way to do this, and I'm trying to think of a. Right now, it's just we just want shit to work, but it's also not. You know what I mean? Like, it's not long-term planning, which is something that. Oh, I didn't check this other thing. Oh well. It's not long-term planning, so it's for the game to change, and we already know that this is set up wrong. Let's see if we can just mentally think of a quick way to make this different. So we could set, all right, so this is, let's do this first. Let's do two things first. And we can change this whole thing. What is this under? Faction AI. Check for buildings. We have build improvements, and we have this build building. Let's have a new method in here that build. So there's going to be the build building, and then there's going to be public void check if built. So it's going to check if the building's built first. And I think we're going to have to put in the same thing, the faction and building. So we're going to have to pass this in. Check if built. I check if building built. We've yeah, we might have like armies or something later that we want to check for. I just thought of it. Whoops. I just thought of another thing that we're going to do. In fact, I should put a note in before I forget. So let's go. The way we're going to differentiate armies right now. Armies can have more than one person, more than just the hero. and heroes will just be alone for now. So that's how we'll differentiate between these things. For now, I want to be able to have people assist the hero, but right now, when we get to the armies part, I just have to put that in there. I'll forget about it. When we get to the armies part, we'll need that will be the way we'll distinguish it. Oh, I also moved my project down here. I was watching a tutorial and I saw the guy had his, instead of all three listed, he had his project down here and his hierarchy up here. And I was like, I think I like that idea because I'm always having problems finding, the project's way over here and I can never get to it. So let's see how that works out. But so we need to have it check if the building's built. So we might have to put in 2 buildings here. The building. So let's think about this. So it's the first thing it's going to do for check for building. So it's going to see if is there enough food. If there's not enough food on the possible buildings, is there a building that increases food? So currently we only have 3 buildings. What is your problem? Oh, yeah. Currently we only have 3 buildings, and one of them is called a garden shack. Let's go back to our buildings. This thing, a building thing. We could have a bool in here that like says increases food. It outputs food. Currently it doesn't do shit. We could have a list of resources, and then it would check, like it would go through the list of resources. So we could have like a resource. Food would be a resource. Wood would be a resource. So I started playing Victoria 3 last night and this morning, and wood is like every colony game, like every game these days, wood is always such a requirement for everything. It's kind of funny, like I started as Quisium first. I always like to pick like a country that just has one province to start with, and they didn't have any wood, and the world ended. That was it. So I switched to Brunei. Anyways, so we can have a list of resources, which would be a public class or a scriptable object. And then we could put it in here, and then it would just check if, food. No, it wouldn't say food. If resource equals food, we would have, eventually we're going to have 2 different type of food. There's going to be canned goods, and then there's going to be normal food. Maybe we can just keep it all as one type of food. The issue is the canned food you can store forever, in the game terms, and normal food is going to go bad. So that's not that bad. So what we could do, we've never really set up any resources. So that's why we're going through, I say this every stream. That's why we're going through like this whole thing in like little loops, is to figure out what we need as we go along. So I do have a scriptable objects thing, and I've been working with scriptable objects more with my other game. So we could have a public class. I'm trying to think. Scriptable objects you don't get changed, but it'd be like the resource type, not the resource number. A public, you can change them, but they're supposed to be set up over here. A public class is expected to be changed. Like scriptable objects, you can import them and you get a new one, but they're not. But it's like remembered. It's not really expected to be changed. And so what do we need? What information do we need if we wanted to do it this way, where we just didn't have a bool that said like, is food production? Uh, we do need, the building does need to know what it makes. Currently they don't do anything, but eventually it does need to know what it makes. The resource it makes. And we also, what are these things up here? This is just bullshit, I think. I don't think this actually has like a link to any. Yeah, it's just some number. It's just some number. It's not an actual resource. So we could, and we could relink that. They would have to be the same resource, but that's not, so that's not a problem. See, these are just, this is just bullshit. These are just ints right now. We're going to want, you know, the resource name and the amount currently. That's all we need. So I think let's go with a public class. We can always change it later to, the problem with scriptable objects, and this is what I always run into with these things, is you don't, you know, if you assign a scriptable object to something, like I said, it's not really supposed to be changed. It can be changed and it remembers what's been changed, but it's not, that's not its main, it's, scriptable objects are more like what you write for the basis and then you import them in. I guess we could do like a list of resources. Let's do this for now. We're gonna have to figure out how to do this better as we go along. So this is gonna be building. The building is going to need to know what it's being built. See, the scriptable object would be easier if because we could just pump out a bunch of them. You know, one's food, one's whatever, one's food, one's scrap, one's whatever, influence. But then we'd have to reset it every time we ran the game, which is a huge pain in the ass, honestly. The other, like back to the public class, it would just be called like resource, and we'd have name. Let's see how this looks. Sometimes I gotta do it, and put it in there, resource, and then see how it looks in my brain. You know, sometimes it's gotta, I gotta just do it. We're gonna do serializable so we can see it. And then inspector, we don't want this shit like that. And then we'll say public string. Look at that, it's suggesting getter setter. That's weird. It stopped doing that. I haven't even updated it since yesterday. Sure, whatever you want. Public, well, a description would be nice. We'll put a description in there. Version, no. Oh, maybe because I called it resource, it's pulling this from something new. An int called amount. All right. We need this to be different though. No, wait, do we? Why have I been, let me think about this. Why have I been doing this on everything? Do I do that on my other one? I don't think I think I've stopped doing that. What the fuck? Let's see here. I have public classes in here. Oh yeah, I started doing this. I forgot about that. That other thing is only used if it's a list, I think. I don't know how any of this shit works. Sometimes I'm baffled by my own ignorance here. Yeah, I've been doing this instead. Forgot about that. So what about my other? So this scale unit type, what am I doing? Yeah, I just have this. What is this other shit even for? Where's it? Where to go? Not what we were just looking at one, and now I've lost it. Faction AI, no. Work county. I always wondered why this was so annoying. Well, let's go with this and wait until it bites us in the ass. Yeah, what the fuck is this for? Like, this makes sense. But why do we need all this shit? Know what this is called the constructor. That's what that's called. Let's ask Chat GPT. Sometimes it's useful. Sometimes uh, um, I'm logging in over here. Oh, it's not asking me to log in. Uh, why do some public classes need constructors? Whoops. Oh, Jesus Christ. Shut the fuck up. Public classes often need constructors to ensure proper initialization and configuration of objects when they are created. Constructors are special methods in a class that are responsible for setting up initial states of an object and performing any necessary set of constructors allow you to set initial values for the instance variables. I didn't even tell what language I'm using, but it's all this shit's the same these days. Constructors can be used to inject dependencies into an object. Constructors can enforce encapsulation by controlling the access to internal data and methods. So that makes sense to me. Constructors can access parameters that configure object whose states cannot be changed after creation. Okay, we're just not gonna do it. Fuck you and your import error. We're just not gonna do it, and we'll see what happens. We don't need this skill open. We don't need this unit type open. That's for a different thing. I don't know why it's doing this, but yeah, we'll do that. We'll sure. I actually don't. I've been filling. I'm not putting name in anymore because it gets confusing later. All right, so we have the amount. Sure, that'll be fine. And then if we have a getter setter, we could put it in there later. I guess we'll leave this here. It's the description should actually never change. So I guess whatever. This is fine. This is fine for what we're doing. And then we're gonna put a resource in the building. Work cost, current workers, max workers, public resource. And then, yeah, like, why do we need this shit on here? It just all equals. Well, this is different. That one matters. Maybe. I know it matters. Everything matters. I don't know. Actually, what the fuck? How does this even work? Whatever. We'll figure it. We'll get some bug later, and then I won't remember this whole stream that I did, and then we'll have some other. It will take me 6 hours to figure it out. All right. So if we go back to here, we just stuck that in a building, though. We're gonna have to hit play. I just want to see what it looks like. I don't think this is gonna work actually. So we can find this. We can find this building like right here. Oh, because that's a getter setter. We can't see the name and stuff. Um, That's not going to do us any good. I mean, even if we change this, where did it go? We'll just go like this. Oh, we want this to be lowercase now. Because we want to fill this information out ahead of time, which would be the bonus, not the bonus, the reason to have a scriptable object, because you would fill the scriptable object out ahead of time. But then we would have to like make it connect to this somehow, and we'd have to say like this building is resources is whatever at the beginning. We would have to say this public class equals that scriptable object, which is just another, now we're on to like doing like double the work. I mean, it kind of makes sense to do it that way, but then how do we know like this building? Oh, I know how we would do it. We would do it, but where does this building live? This building currently doesn't live anywhere. Oh, we would have to set it. Jesus Christ, what a pain in the ass. We would have to like have an array of scriptable objects or something. Let's go back and let's think about this. If we did it with a scriptable object, it would actually, long term, it would work better, but we would have to assign the scriptable object here, here, and once again, with an array. What a pain in the ass this is. Whenever you get to like above like the very basic data stuff, suddenly it's a huge pain in the ass. Probably if I just knew more, it'd be less of a pain in the ass. The other idea we could do is just do like resource name and have it match the resource name. But we're just kicking that problem down the road. I literally just did this on my other game. Like a bunch of this shit. How did I do it? I did a public class. I did a public class called unit type, but where was I typing that shit in? Oh, it was attached to a prefab. So it's the unit type. Is that what I was doing? All right, this is gonna probably fuck up the stream. Whenever I open up a second one of these, it gets very, very upset. So if I get all lagged out, don't worry, it will fix itself here in a second. Once it stops. Once it stops opening. I'm staring at the frames. We lost 10 frames in for the rendering and 22 from encoding, which is not very much, but it might have made my voice all fuckoed. So let's see here. How was I typing this shit in? Yeah, so unit type. That's like on token info. So that's attached ahead of time. So we could have a building prefab for every building. Good God. Is that a smart idea or dumb fuck idea? It wouldn't need a game object. Oh, I guess you gotta have a game object. So let's think what a building is gonna need. It's gonna need like a picture. It's gonna need all sorts of things attached to it. So maybe we do want to build building prefab, and then we'd have like building info attached to it, and then we could put in like you know, I have a unit type. We could have a resource here. So these are all different in this game where um, like this particular the pain maggot has a skill level of 40 for biting, and these are just 20 right now. But you know, like if we go to the blood puddle's got tentacles, so it's got a 40% skill in there. Uh, and I did that with a public class called unit type. And oh, it has another public class. And whoa, did I just edit this thing while I was? What the fuck? I didn't know I could do that. Okay, so it has a public class inside of a public class. And then this unit type has a list of all of the things in there. That works for this. That's not going to work for how we want it. Then I also have some scriptable objects. Oh, this is the next thing I'm working on is special abilities for weapons. But those don't change. Like the weapon doesn't change. I might, you know, put a special ability on here or something at some point. But I would just drag in the special ability or assign it on the run. No, we wouldn't want to assign it on the run. All right, back to this. Let's think about this here. I've said that like 6 times today. I don't know what the fuck that is going on with that. Um, Making the building a prefab might actually be. So check this out. If we did, check this out. If we did that, we could put all this information on the prefab, and we wouldn't have to have it in the code here. We could make, and then you know the game object would be, huh? I kind of like that idea. It would just be like a list, like one of these. I wonder how much memory, like a blank, not a blank game object, but a game object without any like shit attached to, you know, with a like this. How much memory does a game object take? Like, is it because there's gonna be a bazillion of these in Unity? How much memory? Yes, does an empty game object use? Let's see what the fuck this thing. Okay, you didn't. It just says it doesn't know. It says don't worry about it, which I worry about weird shit like this all the time, and then like I read all these like help things and stuff, and and people will just be like, "Why are you worried about that?" It's funny. Someone came into chat the other day and was like, "This won't help with your optimization," and I was like, "This is the one time I haven't mentioned any optimization." So it was like someone else. That means um, other people worry about that shit too. So, well, we would need a game object for every resource. That's not the end of the world. I feel like I'm tricking something. We're gonna new. Can I just group? Yeah. So let's say food resource. No, let's just say food. Let's put a new folder here. Resources. These things like to. And you know, I was reading some tutorial because I've been struggling with that in my other game. I could probably close this thing so we don't have 2 of these open. Um, I don't want to change anything. Go away. All right. Uh, I've been really struggling with it in my other game. Everything was so simple until I got out of like my comfort zone. Uh, what I mean is like in my other game, I used all of the things I've learned, and then I got to like the point where I was in a new area, and suddenly I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing, which is expected, you know. So we're gonna want a script on here, I think. I mean, I know we want a script, but I was thinking about what we want this script to entail. Uh, no, wait, these aren't resources that we're. This isn't. Wait, what are we doing? This isn't what we want. We want building prefabs. Buildings. And this should be like a garden shack. And this is going to have all of the building info attached to it, and we'll just move around these game objects. I sometimes I don't under. It's like I keep reading about scriptable objects, and like people talk about how awesome they are, and I find them like less and less useful every time. So I feel like I'm doing something majorly wrong. Uh, but let's do a new script here. The new script is going to be called building info. And we're actually going to need all of this stuff, but uh, we're going to attach this to the so, and then that's another weird thing is that all these people are, you know, always saying things are so great with scriptable objects, and then I ran into like somebody saying, why aren't you just using a prefab at another point? And I was like, I don't know it. The problem with having a bunch of prefabs is we're going to have to update them. So that's what I'm doing. Like if we change one thing, we have to go through each one and update it. So only having 3 is probably a good idea. All right, let's think this through because we're about to fuck this whole thing up. This whole thing is going to be fucked up hardcore. Why are we fucking this up? Because I don't want to use a bool that just says, because I want to attach a resource to it. What resource does this build? And it might not build any resources. What does this thing influence? This building needs to. Okay, so wait. So this is back to the strategy pattern that I don't really 100% understand. If we had like a building that's just a prefab, just waiting for information at runtime, like it assigns the resource it makes at runtime, it assigns this other stuff at runtime. But how would we tell it? So like on my other game, I have this thing called token info, and it goes on run. It like it just checks if it's the player or not, but everything else is assigned to it. You could put a so then you could put a scriptable object in there, and you could drag and drop it, and if things change, but you would still have to know the amount. Yeah, I think I'm overthinking this. So what do we want to do? Do we want to kick this down the road and just use a bool temporarily? Because this is completely unimportant right now. Let's kick that down the road currently. And we'll just say... we'll just use a bool right here. Creates food. Yeah, this is going to be like a shitty way. So I'm going to leave it out of here. No, but it has to be in here when you. So let's go. We'll know right now. If here, I can't put it in. I can't put that bool in. Yeah, so the constructor has to be here when you're adding this shit like this. All right, so that makes sense. We see we've already figured out something. Uh, where did we put it? Uh, creates food, and then you're not gonna do it for me, little buddy. Okay, so that needs to be there for this, and then see if we just had a prefab that we stuck in here, and we had this information all on the prefab, it sure would make life somewhat easier. I mean, we could currently, we might just do this right now. Let's go back to this, and then we would just put in, um, a public, uh, what is that thing called? A public building. For now, I'm just, I gotta think out this shit. All right, you're not gonna let me do it because all right. Where's this shit? It's gonna be here. It's gonna be easier to keep track of the information, I think, because this is Forest Shack. I don't know how we would assign the name, but we could drag the name in. Okay, so that is like that. Then if we go, we could also see in the inspector. So a lot of the stuff I've been changing how I program to see. Uh, yeah, so we could. This is what I was talking about. We could just check box that. Um, but we would actually put a resource in here. So we wouldn't. Let me think about this. Where the fuck is this thing? We would say like, if you see me making weird faces, it's because I'm singing along to the music that you guys can't hear. Okay, so the only issue. Um, this might be a better way to do this. Well, I don't know about having this public class right here. It creates food we would get rid of. We would compare it to the. We would have a scriptable object actually that would be. It would have the name and the description. Right now, that's all it would have. But then we would have to have another resource like that. Well, we could just say amount of that resource. It doesn't need to know what the resource is that it's keeping track of, because the resource would be up here. So let's try that. We might be got wild. This could be a wild goose chase. We're gonna create it, but it's fun. This is part how I learn. Resource SO, and we're gonna go to. Do I have an? I think I deleted them all. Let's pull one out of here. So I always need to copy and paste. Um, I always need to copy and paste the top things, these things. My music stopped. I know you guys can't hear it, but I. Little Amanda Palmer for the morning. I didn't open this thing up. Or if I did, I don't know where it went. We're going to paste this here. We're going to have all sorts of problems for a second. So this puts the scriptable object in the menu so you can create more of them. Eh. Do we need serializable in there? We'll find out. We'll get rid of this thing. This is a string. The problem is, so if I put name here, what happens? I forget it. Yeah, see, it starts getting this weird thing. So I like to put, because there's already something called name, and we're like overriding it. I don't like overrides that much. And so the amount is going to be some other thing. All right, then we go back over here. And now this should show up right here. And then we're going to call this food. I'm going to open, well, we don't need, it's right here. We're going to call this food, and you eat it. That's the description of this resource. Then we go back to our other thing. This could, like I said, we could be on a wild goose chase here. I said that to one of my coworkers the other day, and they were I said, can you tell me this? Because I want to make sure we're not on a wild goose chase. And they did not, they did not appreciate my questioning there. And now I notice I've just said wild goose chase like 60 times. So this is not what we need to look at. We don't need this open. Building info. This should be resource SO. And we're going to say resource SO here. And then we're going to say public int resource amount. Then if we go over to here, oh, this still doesn't tell us though. Well, it is food. We'll see how this works. What the fuck was I doing? Back to my prefab here. And then we'll just add in food here. So the reason I'm staring at this like is do we actually need this to be a public class? I don't think we needed this to be a public class. We could just stick all of these in here, like in this building info thing, and just change them on the fly. So there's gonna be like a ton of instances of these buildings. That's why I was looking at the. So let's say there's 500 counties. Every county is gonna have a list of these things. So we could do this. So how would we set this? So we wouldn't need the public class so much. There's a few things we also could do. So just like we did that, the resource scriptable object, we could do a building scriptable object that has most of the shit prefabbed in there. But the thing is, this doesn't, this is the same. Well, these are all going to be different. This is actually, I guess we didn't even really need it. This isn't really that useful actually after all. We could have just put that stuff here because this building is not going to change. This resource should probably be something else. Man, our code's going to be fucked. um I'm trying to think if there's any reason to uh to to not use this to not use this or to use this thing and not just move all these things over here. Why were we using the game object? The game object is just used for the player, for when the player's fucking with it. Uh, the AI doesn't have a game object of it. Maybe it would though, if we were like spying on the. Huh. Yeah, I don't actually think this is very useful. No, I guess it would be. Because if we clicked on food up here, we would be using this same resource, so we would have the name into the description. I mean, it's fine. Resource amount is fine. I don't think this needs to be a whatchamacallit though, a public class anymore if we do it this way. And it's funny, I kind of got away from doing public classes as well. What we would do instead is okay, so can we do this? We can. So we can do all this stuff on here. We would instead copy over this stuff. Not that much. We would copy over all this stuff to our building info, wherever the fuck that thing is. It would instead be more like this. Public building. The fuck did I just do? Well, you need to add this in here. Yeah, see, it doesn't like these, which is fine. It thinks, because this is a mono behavior, it's like, hey, what? There's already a thing here. Um, so we would probably call this UI game object. And then this would be building name. Once again, no, there's only going to be building name. I probably should have, let's go back. Can I, let's not do that. I just had this fear that we're gonna fuck something up. Building name. See, so that just moved everything over a little bit. And we would just, so in this prefab, we would say this is a garden shack. And whatever. This is a shack. Is a shack. Well, we have. Can we do something? I just had an idea. We have this under all text. It's like all text dot building name. Can we? So this is such a like because an enum can't be. I don't think an. I don't think an enum can be a string. I think it's got to be a number. I think I tried this the other day because then we could pull down from a list. But okay, you can't have spaces in it though. All right. Uh, that's a different. That's a different. All right, back to whatever we were doing here. So that would get rid of this, which I don't like, because one of the things I want to do is make it easier for long term if we're we need to rename stuff. It's all in the same place, and also if we need to do localization or whatever, if everything's over in one spot, I think it'll be easier. So can we? I've never tried to do this. Can we do like this isn't in a string? This is like all text dot building name. Can we do that? It's letting us. So then what do I have to pick from a list or what does it give me over here? If it gives me a list, then I'll be stoked. Oh, it's gone. What are this? I want to. Let's ask ChatGPT. We're on like the. Um, I want to be able to pick from a list of strings in Unity in a mono behavior. I want to be able to pick from a list of strings that is a public constant in another script. How do I do that? The fuck is this? So it's having an array. No, yeah, this is an array. It's calling it a list, though. No, that's horseshit. I want to be able to pick it in the inspector. This thing apologizes a lot. Um, If you want to expose a list of strings from one script and make it editable on the you need to use a serialized field. Constants cannot be modified in the inspector. So you need to use a serialized field instead. Here's how you can do it. And the inspector for the game object, that's not really what I want, but it just told me something. It's interesting I can put this here. This is like an instance of this or some shit. I don't think enums cannot be. Enum. Num has a number. All right, that's what the fuck is this? It's just it's so this is one of the things that's so interesting about not interesting. Uh, a human would understand what I'm thinking about. You know what I mean? Like humans following would follow along. This thing doesn't know what the fuck I'm thinking about. It's just guessing. Uh, so what I'm trying to do, if I type everything in here, the localization is gonna be fucked. I guess that's not necessarily true. We could go through and have something that updates it all. I don't know how do they do localization? I've never even looked into it. I should probably pre-plan that stuff. But right now, fuck it. I'll do like a this is just gonna be a string. I'll just do a tutorial about it or something. I'm curious. I'm very curious how. Let's just ask this thing. Let's do a new chat. In Unity, how do people plan for localization? You'll figure it out. Avoid hard-coding text. Use localization keys or external files for storing all the text that needs to be translated. Store all strings and text that require translation in external files like a JSON, whatever. Consider using localization tools. Key value pair management. Each string in your game should have a unique key. This key is used to retrieve the appropriate translation from a specific language. Localization graphics. The graphics aren't going to change. Fonts and elements, cultural sensitivity, testing, quality control. ChatGPT is pretty good at this stuff because there's probably been a lot of stuff written. So what we would want to do, it is kind of like this. But so like think about how this would work. We can't. Let's say we had a JSON with the building names and descriptions in there in different languages. How would it know to even assign that to this? We'd have to have like a list at the beginning that went through the list and assigned them all. Uh, but let's not get too sidetracked here. Let's do garden shack. In the description, this is a garden shack. Uh, Work completed, blah, blah, blah. We'll leave this down here. I don't know if it will be useful. We'll save this thing. And so if we're going to do this, we're going to break a bunch of shit. We're going to break a bunch of stuff. Oh, it's been an hour. So I'm going to take a quick break. Don't end the stream this time like I did last time. I'm going to take a quick break and then I'll be back in less than 5 minutes. I got to pause my music here. I was just thinking about something. We might not. Let's see if this is a prefab. We're gonna have to instantiate this shit. Let me turn on my break timer. At the beginning of the game, I'm gonna have to instantiate like 500 of them, and they're gonna be moving all around. That actually might not be that bad. We could put them in the underneath the counties. Huh. This is we're in like unknown territory for me. Uh, all right, this creates a list, but let's go back to our county info here. Um, so when we want to build, we would want. This would be much easier to keep track of than. I mean, it still would be hard to keep. Man, this is. We're gonna have a lot of data in this game, and keeping track of the data is gonna be kind of a pain. Okay, so we have this token, and maybe this will help us. If we. So how would we do this? Let's tell it. Let's ask it. Let's ask it. No, we want a new chat. In Unity, I want to instantiate all the prefabs in a folder in the inspector. No, in the in a folder. Let's just see what it says. Sometimes they can figure shit out. Sure, I can help with that. Okay, so it's loading them all from the resources, which is fine. Can we use streaming assets instead? Name of the folder name. Oh, they're doing it that way. It's interesting. Last time I did something similar to this, they had it hard coded in. So I think this is what we should do. I did I say resources? I mean buildings. The reason I'm thinking streaming assets is because we're gonna want to have, like I said, we're gonna want to make this moddable. So in streaming assets, from what I understand, it's like when you compile it, it's just there, and they should be able to. Well, I don't know. What does this list look like? Well, those are just text files. I don't know what a prefab looks like in here, like without Unity open. This might be pointless. We could set it as a JSON file though. God, it's back to that whole thing. We should probably not worry about that right now. Like, what does a prefab look like? Well, let's do this. Let's do buildings in here. And then let's save this prefab. Where did I put this fucking thing? Open says me. Go into here. And then... Oh, can I not have prefabs in here? Okay, well, that's a problem. Let's put this in under resources and see if it... Okay, I can have them there. All right, let's delete this one. I gotta just drag that thing over. Did it say that? What did it say? Did it say something like... They're not directly access... What are you talking about, dude? I fucking pulled that list up. Called this AI dude. Okay, what did this thing give us? What did this thing give us? No. Oh, wait. Oh, it's gonna have me... What? It's gonna have me drag and drop that in there? I've never seen that before. That's under resource. No, where is this thing? This is under a county. I've lost what I was doing. Here we go. County. Where did I put this? What is the name of this script? County info. All right. County. Stop it. That I gotta yell at myself there. We got some bugs. It can't compile here. What? Open up. I think I'm missing something, but that's fine. I just want to look at what it's talking about. Yeah, I can't. What is it talk? I can't. Yeah, I was like, I don't think you can drag. What is it? What? We do want. Okay, so this should just be. It's weird that it did it this way. This should just be a string. And then we just hope that we don't rename the thing ever. What was it wanting? What a weird way to do that. Yeah, I don't know. All right, this though we do need the instantiation parent. Oh, let's go back to here. We want it to be called something else though. We're gonna call it so I do it usually like that. Load all game objects, prefab. Okay, so that is what we want. Buildings is what we're calling. We only have one. What's your fucking problem? Why won't you let me go? Because you're gone. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, so let's do this. Let's go into each county. We're gonna create a empty one, and we're gonna call it. Hey, that's not what. Well, that's fine. We're gonna rename this thing to buildings. This is all fucked up now. I'm gonna put it here. Um, we're gonna need 6 more of these. 6 more of them. No, that's not gonna do us any good. We're just gonna drop each one onto each. This is why we didn't want a lot of these, because we might have needed a bunch. So wait, we're gonna have to drag and drop each one of these. We're gonna have to drag and drop each one of these into that spot, which is a bummer. But we only gotta do it 7 times. When we start adding more, once we know exactly what we need, we're gonna. That's why we're like I keep saying, why we keep doing like loops. Okay, so that's all we need currently, except we need to drag and drop each one of these into this. Oh, this is public. We don't need this public. Now some Regina Spektor has started in my ears. So this needs to be. We should name each one of these like Cowlitz possible buildings, because there's going to be the possibility of a major mistake made here just from this dragging and dropping. I feel like when I have a ton of these, I always make a fucking mistake. Okay, let's save that shit. Let's go back to here and load all prefabs in the specified folder. For each one, instantiate the prefab. So there should be impossible buildings. Something's here. Garden Shack clone, which is fine. That's 100% fine. So can we see what information? Yeah, so we can see all of this stuff too. That was kind of like one of my fears. We can't see the resource information, but who gives a shit? Yeah, since this is a prefab, so let's make another prefab for. Let's make another prefab. I think we're on the right path here. What was the thing called? There's like a forest fuck hole. No, it was some sort of shack. A fisher shack. A fisher shack also makes food. So that's a good test. This is going to be called, we'll do a forest, because this makes the resource that this one's going to make is something else. Forester's shack. This thing mines wood. It's a little inside joke with myself. Forester's shack. And then we're going to need a new resource. And it's going to be called wood. Parts of trees. One day we're going to have to go through here and not be so um not so be so jokey. I like to, joke with myself pretty much. You know, we could, you know, we could actually move like each county underneath, but that's another story. And we're also going to need current buildings in here. But let's go back to our prefabs. They're not under prefabs anymore, though. They're under here. And then we're going to assign wood to here. And then we're going to need one more. We're just going to duplicate this thing. And we're going to call this Fisher's Shack. And then we're going to call this this is a shack for fishers. And its resources food. So that actually changes. This is good that we have this fuck up here where I forgot that. So to have two different choices is good for food resources right now for the thing we're working on. Should we just do a fuck it, not right this second. This can go back over here. And let's make sure that so each one of these should get 3. So I'm also really used to not having to hit play to look at everything. Yeah, they're all here. And it's funny. So in my other game, you have to hit play to look at anything. And then this one, you know, like half the stuff's pre-built, or not pre-built, but in here already. It's kind of an interesting, like, and I'm getting used to that as well. All right, so what we'd want to do, though, is kind of fill in this information over here. I'm moving this over in my other screen. I can't see chat right now. Not that anybody is chatting with me. Influence cost. We have work cost is 7. We have a different number here. Where's this? Oh, max workers is 5. Work cost. What is going on? We're missing a thing. So on my other screen, we have description, work completed, which should be 0, influence cost, work cost, current employees. Okay, so I thought we changed it to current workers. And it's missing from here because it must be, did I copy it from a bad spot? It's a building. It's probably, yeah, because we have this thing, this getter setter. We can't type that in there. Well, it's just going to be 0. To start with. Yeah, we called it workers. There's a really easy way for us to do that. We just say on awake, we say it's 0, but shouldn't it start out as 0? Whoa. Not Control A. Shouldn't it start out as 0? I'm gonna do something here. Debug log building name or building current workers You know, I just had another idea about this thing where we're not that uh where are we doing this? County info. Uh, we can just do this. I was thinking that clone thing was kind of dumb. Uh, we can. I think we can do this. It might be too early. We'll see. Yes. No. Let's see what happens. I wonder if it's gonna put like apostrophes and shit in there. I feel like that's a problem. But we'll see. All right, those are all 0. What does this look like? Well, that didn't fucking work. It still has clone in the back. The whole point was to get rid of the clone part. I think we're doing this wrong. We want to have like just a temporary game object here. We can just do a game object building equals, and then here we can just go you almost never can get away with just instantiating, at least from my experiences, just instantiating a thing. I guess we don't need to look at those zeros anymore. We want it to be 0, so that seems to be what we got there. Yeah, so it puts the apostrophes and stuff in there. I guess these are just a string. That works. Let's go back to. I really don't like that. We should put that in all text. So if we go back to this stuff, well, wait, let's go back to this and get this the fuck out of here. I don't know why. Like, it obviously is going to be 0, but I don't fucking know. Okay, so max workers, we need to fill out each one of these things if we're going to do this right. Max workers is 5. Forester, we need work completed 0, influence cost 500. What did we have on work costs? This was world map load here. I'll move this back over here. Let me see here. This is, we had it at 2 for some reason, then 0 and 5. Creates food we don't need anymore. That doesn't need to exist, so we can just get rid of that. But let's finish this other one. Oh, wait. That was Forester check. Okay. Garden check. We're getting, wait, costs 0, 500. Work cost is 7. Max workers is 5. Save this. Resource amount actually shouldn't exist right here. Okay, so there's two things we're going to get rid of. We're going to get rid of, bring this back over here. We're going to go to building info. We're going to get creates food is gone now. I think this is the way. And resource amount, we don't give a shit about the resource amount. In this place, this is the building. We can have like a base rate if we wanted, and we would put that in the prefab. The base rate would be it generates 10 a day or some shit, but we don't need that right now. Oh, except that that's the resource would control that. I guess it kind of no, because a fisher shack's gonna or fishermen are gonna bring in more food than a garden shack. So that we don't need. We know we don't need this. So that would be a different thing. This would have to. That's going to be under the building info, but whatever. We're not. We don't even need to worry about that right now. All we're trying to do is get this thing to generate, and we currently have that working. Well, no, we don't. What do you want here? Sure, private. What's your problem here? Oh, we're still. This is still from here. That's fine. Check if building built. Already built. So now we need to do something else because we've just changed everything. We're gonna duplicate this thing and call it current buildings. I don't know. I hit some other button. Oh, I didn't know I could do that. Wait, I can select a bunch and just duplicate them all? Hey, okay. Just gonna copy that, paste it. I work with these two different people that they would not do it this way. They would manually type everything in. And I asked this one lady, I said, why do you do everything the most tedious way? And she said it's because she was worried about losing her job because there wasn't enough work for her. So she was like making up work to do. She was making everything much longer. And I was like, they're not gonna, they're not gonna fire you for because there isn't enough work. Because there was plenty of other work she could do. She just didn't want to change what she was doing. So she has everything done is the most tedious way, the most tedious, horrible way. She volunteered to do this job where she would download a file from one database and then re-upload it to another file manually. And so, she would hit download and it would take 2 minutes for it to download. And then she would, go to the other site and click upload. So the whole process was like a 5-minute, and it would take 2 minutes to upload. And the whole process is like a 5-minute process per file. If there was like 100 files, sure, that's whatever. That's still 500 minutes of wasted time. But it was like 100,000 files, and I was like, do the math on this, motherfucker. Like, look, there's no way in your lifetime you're gonna fix this shit, finish this shit. And she's like, well, what are our other choices? And I was like, we pay the people who have like scripts to do it. They'll download all this shit, and it was. And so then like a month later, I was like, are you still working on that project? And she's like, no, I gave up on it. So they just didn't move the data instead. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, she blows my mind. So we have possible buildings and current buildings. We're gonna need a thing in our, which I keep forgetting where this thing is. It's county info. Where the fuck is this thing? It's county info. Let's move this over here. I probably need to click on it though. Here, no, I guess I was clicked on it. building info, county info. Then we're going to need another, I guess this is a public transform, sure. Current buildings every time parent. Optional parent for get the fuck out of here. And then we're going to go drag this shit in here. We're going to go up to the top here. I was just thinking we also, when we created this, we could go. We could go. We could actually put the county's name in front of it. So we would know if we were making mistakes about shit. I guess we won't do that right now. I feel like maybe that's a great idea to reduce. It wouldn't be that hard. Let's do it. It would just be. I think it's just name. We might have to put game object. Well, it will. You know what? If I put game object here, it will tell me. It will say, "Hey, you don't need that shit." I didn't drag this over yet. Let's drag this over real quick, and then we'll. Oh, I did on that one. I did one. It's just it's so easy to we could have probably manually generated those as well, or I mean automatically generated. Speaking of doing tedious stupid shit, we probably could have just had those generated. In fact, we totally could have. We could have just said, "Hey, create these two things as children," and who gives a fuck, what order they're in, because we don't give a fuck. And then this would just become this. Man, we totally could have done that instead of this, whatever. In the future, I gotta remember automation. I literally was just shit talking someone, and then I just did a dumb shit thing, the slowest way possible. All right, let's hit play on this and see what these things look like. We also could have no the spawn center. That can't be generated automatically. Douglas Forest Shack. Douglas. Oh, I wonder if we'll use this. What is this? No, we won't. Okay, but this I think this is right. Is this Wasco? Wasco. Yeah. So now we'll know if like this one gets put down here or something. By accident. We'll be like, why is the Harney one under Umatilla? All right, so that prefab builds all of that, and then we're going to tear everything out we've ever done in our whole lives with construction. At the same time, let's do this. Let's bring up put this over here, my Unity shit pile. My Unity shit here. Where are you? Over on my right screen that you guys can't see. Where are you? This is close enough. Unity old shit. Let's put in. This is gonna break a bunch of stuff, but that will help us figure out. Let's put this building over here. Do we need a building list? If we do, we can create one. All right, let's put that over there. Now this is gonna break like a 100,000 things. But we want that to happen because then we know what we need to fix. Okay, not 100,000, just 6, 8. This is going to pass in a game object now. And so is this thing. And this is going to be building influence cost. No, it's going to be... right here, we're going to say, we're going to call this a building info. And we're going to call this building info. And we're going to go building. Yep, that's what we're going to do. And then this is going to be building info. Building info. Building info. Info. Okay, I thought it was going to let me. I thought I was going to do this. What is this doing? Okay, so this is the move the county current buildings. So this is the list that it's talking about. But do we actually even need this list anymore? Instead of this list, we actually, where are we using this county? So there's county population. Okay, so we are using county. I don't know if we even need that if we're having this county info on everything. This is building improvement. So this is actually on. So we could do the same thing and get rid of a bunch of this shit. This is just going to be a game object list. I don't know if we need this list though. How would we find? Well, let's do it this way and then see what we have imploded. Now what are we up to? Only 4? I don't believe you. I think you need to recompile. I think you need to rethink your fucking life, man. You're wrong. Okay, this is a game object. And this is, so this is going to actually, these people are going to have this game object attached. Fine, whatever. I guess I could, no, I can't do that. This is a game object. We'll fix this all someday. Everything will be beautiful one day. No, it won't. Oh, here we go. Here's the real thing. All right, possible building panel refresher. Game object does not current. All right, so this is where we're getting into the shit here. Possible building. Oh, this is no longer called. This is called like UI game object. No, the problem with this is, what is this? What are we doing here? This is the panel refresher. VAR possible buildings. What is this? This is some sort of fucking list. What is this? VAR, yeah, this is a list. Wasn't this the list I just updated? Did I not update this to game objects? This looks like, why do we have two lists? Why am I doing it this way? We can just go straight to here. Oh no, this is the one I up. No, it's not. County. Yes, this is the one I just updated. What does this thing want? This thing wants. This should be a list. See, this is why I don't like var, because it's easier for me to list of game objects. It's easier for me to like debug later. Is that right? There we go. Because it's var is just, it could be fucking anything. So we have this list of game objects. So this is actually going to be, we would get component from here. Building info. Oh, and this is assigning that to there. I was wondering when we were going to have to assign that to there. Okay, so then we have another list. And this is the same thing, kind of. Well, no, it is this is the same fucking code, man. It's duplicated. Why are we doing this code twice? Oh, this is called UI game object. Well, this is close enough. No, is built. Okay, so see this thing now. Currently selected county.name. Like this is it. Look how long this is. When I think we could probably get set next day job. Oh, I guess we got to do it this way. This is be a long ass motherfucker here though. Get components. Let's put this period down here so I can at least see what we're doing. Uh, what is this thing doing? UI building current building number. UI current building buildings panel. The fuck is this thing? Current building number. Well, we'll fix that later. We're gonna do another major rewrite here eventually. We're just gonna hold on to this temporarily. You know I love to do that shit. I love to do that shit. Down to 39. Deduct cost of building. This is the banker doing this. We don't need this to happen anymore like this. Oh wait, yeah, it is. We do need to do it kind of like this. Where is this being? What is this? This gets run at some point. Build county improvement. What is this? This is just in world map load. Build county improvement. Move building to the current and set next day job. All right, so we actually don't, we're not going to do it this way anymore. We're going to comment this out and just cause a bunch more chaos. This was actually where we have build improvements now that's attached to each county. So even for the player, it should be happening. We should be using this script that's on here from now on, not this other script. So that's a different thing. I don't know why sometimes this doesn't turn green. So in reality, where was that? It was under the banker. The banker. The banker might be of less use now. Yeah, we're gonna have to rewrite a bunch of shit. So this is getting fired by an event, huh? Building confirmed. I don't remember what that was, so let's get that out of there. Okay, so building confirmed. All right, well, you hit the yes button to build the building instead of the no button. And this, so then we were having things subscribe to this that needed to be run. So we actually, so let's go back to our building improvements. Um, and that's what the banker was doing. The banker was doing this, and they was removing that was for a different. That's when you hit yes. So this is no. The banker isn't subscribed to that thing. What the fuck? Uh, this is. I think we got a couple different issues here. Where is? Oh, we also have this like building checker I just saw. Where the fuck was that thing we were just looking at? The timekeeper we don't need right now. Work we don't need right now. I don't think. Building. Where the fuck did it go? I have too many things open here. So we would need to. So there's a couple of different ways we could do this. We could subscribe to this with the banker, and the banker would know to get rid of, would to deduct the cost. I'm surprised we, like, where was this, where were we using this before? We were calling this here. Okay, this thing is subscribed. Oh, this is in world map load. And then it runs all this weird shit. We like defeated the purpose of having an event by having it do it this way. So this thing builds the building and it knows which faction it is because we pass along the faction. Even if it's the player faction, I feel like we on this confirm thing, which I keep losing. Wherever it is, I keep losing it because I have too much shit open. Let's turn this off. Yeah. Here it is. Here the little fucker is. So we could do it this way. But I don't think we need to. How many things are... No, we don't need to. What we're going to do instead is we're going to do building improvement. Building improvement. Build improvements. What's your fucking problem here? Build improvement. And the faction is going to be... Because we got to pass in a faction. We have a faction list somewhere. It's under world map load. And then this is not what we want. We want okay, this is on the county. So wait, we gotta do this. We gotta do this right. We're doing in the other one. In the other one, how do we know what count? We have currently selected county, probably. This is actually a game object. Build a, no, this will be our building improvements. This is what we're gonna do. Build improvements. We're gonna call this build improvement. Fuck you. Build improvements is gonna equal instance currently selected county dot get component, and then here we're gonna go build. What is this thing called? It was build something, build building, and then we'll do this, and it's the player faction, and the building we're building is what? We pass it, that's what we're passing in, right? Yep, it's a game object. What building are we building to get to here? We've selected the UI building. I don't even know if we need this thing anymore. I've selected the building, the UI. So we do need this list to a point, but we could also like assign the... This is going to be under county info, population, expand buildings, possible building. So it's going to be under here. And this is a prefab that we've selected. And then a thing pops up off of that prefab. Let's look. I think current possible buildings, uh, building title. No, it's not on the prefab. It's somewhere else. Where is this? Where is this yes thing? Where is this confirm? How does it even know to open up that thing? Oh, it's not under that actually. This opens up here. And then here's the Are You Sure panel. How does it know how does it know what currently how does it know what building? It was just firing off uh it was just firing off a thing. An event. How was it how is anything finding anything? Deduct cost of building. Move building to current building list. So how is it finding what this was? It's going from the county possible buildings and the possible building number. Jesus Christ, what a convoluted way to do this. Why do I always write these convoluted ways to do things? All right, I'm gonna take a quick break and then I will be back in less than 5 minutes. We're gonna have to like fix this whole thing before I call it a day because otherwise I'm never gonna want to come back to a code with 47 fucking errors. So I'll be right back. So there's a much easier way to do this, I think. I was just thinking about it outside. And it also would make our multiple lists when we're moving heroes away around. It would also make those hero lists easier. The problem is we can't compile this right now with these. Oh, well, it says there's only 3 bugs. Don't lie to me. There's like 40. So we got. This is what we got to do. When it generates, it's that refresher thing which we worked on so long. There's an easier way to do this here. We're not going to use that anymore. This is going to be bugged. That's fine. It's that refresher list over here. No, it's not. It's a possible building. It might be under here. On enable. Oh, look at this. It's subscribing to each one of those, which is fine. That's actually fine. But this is getting this list. See, once again, I would use var. Oh, this is the description panel. That's not what we want. We want possible buildings list. Possible UI possible buildings panel. This is, how are we doing this? We're invoking this thing again. God damn it. Okay, well, where are we decoupling stuff? It's nice. Panel refresher. This is the thing I was thinking of, I think. Wait, I can't scroll. This is a list as well. Once again, I was just using var out of laziness. No, it wasn't. It was out of lack of knowledge at the time. So this is the wait, what are we doing currently? Current employees man, we need to be able to compile this. Let's comment this. Everything's going to be busted here, but that's okay. We just want to get all the bugs out first so that we can compile, because we need to be able to see. Check enough employment. Like, so all of these are going to be busted because it's, I mean, we can fix this by putting in here game object. Oh, we don't need game object in here. We just need get component. And it's a var. And then we have the same thing down here. Okay. What the fuck is this? Oh, this is a list. And then it goes through every list. God damn it, dude. Why did I not do this of game objects? It really makes life difficult. Then this would be get. And this is the same thing. We can kind of fix it with these, with what we're doing, but it's kind of like, it's a really shitty, what is this thing? Is this a list that we're getting here? This is also a list of game objects. And God damn it. Why did we do this so many times? Does it need to be... I can't put this as a list like up here that it's attached to? Does it need a new list every time? Motherfucker, this code sucks. There's a way better way to do this, too. We're going to have to go through the whole thing. What are we doing here? This is not a list. This is just a game object. This is like I'm putting a band-aid on this crap. This is also a game object now. Why don't we just make this possible building info and building info, and then go back to here. We need... what do we call this building name, I think? What did we call building info? Building name. Oh, I changed the name of the variable. Jesus Christ. I changed the name of the variable to make my life easier, and then what did I do? I was baffled by why the variable name didn't work anymore. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Look at this shit. It's like all the same thing over and over. Oh, this is a list of game objects. There's a better way to do this. Oh, this is not. I just called it possible buildings like an asshole. This is going to be just building info. Like an asshole. Yeah, this whole thing sucks the way we did this. The way I did it. Oh my god. Why did I do it this way? Holy shit. And like putting this band-aid on is fucking dumb too. I should just fix it, you know, but I need to be able to compile. Look at this. This one has the same variable. All of these do. I could have just put on enable. I could have put this whole thing in here. Jesus fucking Christ, man. And I even named him dumb. I even named him dumb. Why? All right, we're gonna have to rewrite this thing that we've rewritten 65 times. It will be better though. I swear to God, it will be better. I don't know why this is lined up like this. I only do that when it goes off the edge of the screen. It's the same thing. We got another one right here. And this isn't even. Oh, maybe it is. Oh, this is a list though. This one's named correctly too. How many did we fix? We're down to 19 according to this thing. I don't believe it. Is this the same shit where we have this 45 times? No, I fixed some of them. This one's a list. So when we do the list of game objects, we can actually, I think we instead of that weird number thing that I had in there, that like building number that you've selected, whatever it's called, I think we can just assign the currently selected building game object, and we don't have to go through that fucking rigmarole, and we can just do. We're also doing a lot of events here. I got kind of carried away with events. I don't know if it's the best way to do it. What the fuck is this? Oh, this is the banker where we were already. We were already having issues with this banker thing, but I guess we'll fix it. I can see the pain of like some of these indie games that I play, that I stream on my other channel, where you know they get to a point, and to go back to fix stuff like right now, we're gonna have to tear out like half the code we wrote and we struggled with for so long. But it's gonna make the game run, just work better. I think. What the fuck is this? We're gonna hope everything's broken though. We want things to be broken because you're broken badly, so that they're airing out, because we don't want it to partially work, because if it partially works, then it'll be harder to find the bugs. Down to 11. Oh, this is the panel refresher I was thinking of earlier. Current building. This is an actual building, so we can just change this. We don't have to have this to be a var here. This is going to be a building info. We're going to rename this to this, and we're going to go get components. I wonder if there's a reason why I had those things. Every little thing had it was getting its own little piece of shit there. We're down to 5. Okay, so this is the work day. See, there's a better way we can do this now. Oh no, this is the population. Current building? How does it know what is the current building? Oh right, that's assigned to the population. Yeah, there's probably, I wonder how hardcore it is to all of this building, get all these get component things, if that's fast or slow. I got 2 periods. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot. I know that like you're not supposed to find components. I know that's a bad thing. it was automatically going to do that for me. Yeah, I know you're not supposed to find components. Oh, we're down to 1, really? Now we've royally fucked everything we've worked on for the past 6 months. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. But I think there is an easier way to do this. And what I'm talking about, let's maximize this, is, yeah, this is busted. All right, so this is the first thing. So on here, we click building, and we have current and possible building. But this should be actually pretty easy. So let's close all of this shit down. I have so much stuff open. No, that I'm just gonna, let's just close everything down, and we'll go through. I think there's a much easier way to do this. And it'll be easier for us even to debug it the way I'm thinking. Let's close all of this down. I just don't want any of this crap open right now. We'll open them as we go. All right. We're also going to ignore all of this for now too, which you know how much I hate those messages. So you click on this. Well, let's see how it's supposed to work. So in a perfect world, you'd click on this, you'd click building, and then that thing opens up, and possible buildings panel should be what scripts do we have on here? This is probably the fuck is this thing doing? Possible building has been pressed, so we're invoking this thing. Okay, so this is the panel refresher. But this is the description. This is the description panel. Possible building button pressed. That's not what we're talking about. We want to find this expand button. Here we go. What does this script say? We have, okay, it's setting active those two things, which is what we want. What does this thing do? This thing doesn't do anything. Is there really something in referencing this? What does this thing do? All right. Whoops. I don't think I want this to be its own little thing anymore. What does it do? It doesn't do anything. It's just some little script. I don't want that to be that way anymore. I've flip-flopped back on this, but I don't want it to be like that. Unless it's gonna know what it does when it actually should on enable. Well, no, this is just the button. This is just the button itself. Under county info panel, it's just this button that it's talking about. Um, how are we getting these? I have a like these events are really killing me because I don't know where they are. So then I go possible building button press. Like what? Possible building button equals the value. This is some weird shit, man. Uh, so this expands, and then what are we doing to create this list of the buttons? It's obviously not working. So we should be instantiating some prefabs that are probably called. Let's close this thing. We can search for. Wait, what is this? Here we go. Where the fuck is this thing? Okay, so this thing is subscribing. And it's assigning the possible building clones. Why isn't it working? I probably. UI building panels refresher. Where the fuck is that thing? Shut the fuck up. It's on here somewhere. It just doesn't search the way I want. What are my type options? So where the fuck does this thing live? UI building panel refresher. UI building. Let's see, it's not here. UI building panel refresher. So how are we having this thing subscribing to some bullshit? And it's destroying. So it says refresh the building panels. This is on their world map load. What? I'm not gonna find anything anywhere. I probably commented it out where that even happened. I do like tearing apart everything. Uh, and then rewriting it and having it come out shorter. Building panel refresher. Where does this thing get triggered? It invokes move building to. Okay, so that's just that one time though. Where else is it? Oh my god, how has this shit ever worked? I had to take a piss really bad too. Um, okay, what does this thing do? On enable, it subscribes to this stuff. We must have this. The fuck, man? Expand button. These are just setting these What does this thing do? This thing doesn't do anything. There's a better way to do this with all that without all this garbage. We're gonna have to do. I think there's a better way to do this without all this garbage. This is a good expand buildings button, UI expand buildings panel button. Yeah, it should be named that, but we'll just get rid of it instead. Okay, so we have two different things happening here. That they're basically the same. They're the same thing, but we have to the same. We have duplicate code that is. This is. I saw this earlier. I think we should just rewrite this from scratch. I think this is just a big pile of shit, is what I think this is. So let's do that, and we'll delete that after a second, just in case we need it. So when you open this up. Let's go back to, we open this up. This thing is just a button. It doesn't do anything. But this thing does do something. So we want, this is where we want to write this. Is in here on enable. So do we need other things to be able to get to this? I guess we do need, so when you build a building, that thing, it needs to immediately move over. It needs to refresh the panel. So we will need to be able to get to this thing. Building description panel. Possible building group. Wow, there's 17 things are referencing this? Jesus fucking Christ. This is just such horse shit. We were assigning this thing to here. What are we doing with this? This is like a list or some shit. We're assigning. I see what we're doing. We're instantiating these prefabs. No, there's no instantiate. No, there is. Where is this possible building prefab and current building prefab? Can just be the same fucking thing, man. Why do we gotta have two? Do we need to have two? Are they different? That different? All right, this thing can definitely go. We'll save this and we'll just take the hit there. This is, I don't know what the fuck this is. Okay, where was the one I was like, this is what we're gonna rewrite this thing and we're gonna want to use. UI possible building panels. What are you doing? We don't even have an on disable. We just have a, what the fuck is going on here? All right, we're gonna have two different things. No, we'll have one thing. We'll call it a panel refresher. This is the UI possible building panel. Wait. All right, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm doing that thing where you like squirm around. And we probably actually should put this up here and it will just refresh these two. No, we can't do on enable and disable. Do these things ever disable and enable? I don't think they ever disable and enable not on their own, like separately. They can't. They're connected together. We could put them in another game object and say buildings panels, and then have that thing fire off, and that's what we should do. All right, I gotta go to the bathroom though, so I'm gonna take an early break here. I'm gonna have to come back, and we're gonna have to work on this for longer, anyways. So, let me take this break, and I will be back in less than 5 minutes, hopefully. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna rearrange some stuff here. I wasn't planning to get into this shit at all, but we did. But we did. Uh, yeah. So these things can't expand on their own. So what we're gonna do is, well, first I'm gonna start my music up. I know you guys can't hear it. I wish you could. We're gonna start. We're gonna add a new game object here. Um. Oh, good God. They're gonna be called buildings panel, and we're gonna put this right here. We're gonna put this here. We're gonna put this here, and these should be turned on, and this is gonna be turned off. So it will turn both of them on. And then when that's this button, see, we have like just duplicate shit everywhere, man. This will be better. In the long run, it will be better. Then we'll have this thing. Whoops. We'll have this thing turn on. And that turns off this button when this thing expands. And then there's probably some other button somewhere else. It was probably attached to this thing. Collapse buildings button. This is going to be outside of this thing now. And it's turned on. So if we turn this on, yeah, it should. Okay, then this thing's gonna need, look at all this shit. Do we have the same thing in here twice? Jesus fucking Christ. We can get rid of this crap. We're gonna turn on that. This goes first though. What is this script on here? Who the fuck knows? Collapse building buttons does something. Oh God. Why did I make this so fucking hard? We're gonna have this buildings panel turn off, and this thing turn on. And we need that out of there because it's not it's, yeah, so that's right. This needs to be in here because we don't want it to appear. I don't know what the fuck this is doing. I'm gonna get rid of it. And we'll deal with the consequences. We're gonna have a bunch of consequences from what I just did. All right, so that will open up this, but then we can put a script on here called building UI buildings panel or something. We're gonna create a new one. Create script UI buildings panel, and fuck out of here. We'll have everything basically controlled with this thing. We're gonna have like a panel refresher, and we'll just have, you know, which panel it's doing, and we'll say one will be the current and one will be the the other thing. We'll need a public. Actually, it could be private. It could be private. Private game object. Look at that. It's putting like the M's and shit in there. This is gonna be possible buildings panel, and then we're gonna have another one called current buildings panel, right? So that's gonna have these guys in it. Oh, we didn't put the UI buildings. Did I not call it? What did I call it? I just made it. Oh, it hasn't compiled because we have some dumb shit going on here. There we go. Do your thing, little buddy. Then we're going to add... Did I fucking typo that thing? UI buildings. I probably typoed it. UI buildings panel. Jesus Christ. Okay, and then we're going to put this in here. But do we need that in there? No, we don't. We don't need this at all. Let's comment this out. What do we even need this shit? We don't even need that shit. We might even not even need this whole. No, I was gonna do a panel refresher here and then have them call the panel refresher here. Okay, well, let's go back to one of these. This one is the one we want to edit. UI possible buildings panel. I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing here. So we like this collapse button. Let's just do this. Let's get rid of this whole script. We're never going to be able to finish this in even an hour. Let's just comment out this whole thing. And the first thing we wanted to do is on enable, we wanted to refresh the panel. UI buildings panel dot instance dot refresh panel. Let's do it like that currently. We're definitely gonna need an instance of this, so we're gonna need a public static instance, or sorry, UI buildings. Yep, do that, whatever. And then we're gonna have public panel refresher. Fuck you. Public void panel refresher. And we need a wake. Yeah, thanks for the reminder, computer. We're not gonna look at that thing right now. What did I call it? Refresh panel? No, we're gonna call it panel refresher. I don't know why. I don't know. Why? Okay, so on enable, it needs to refresh the panel, right? And so how is it going to know which panel to refresh? It needs to pass in the panel that it's refreshing. It needs to pass in... I'm thinking about something. Maybe we don't want an instance of this, and we want to drag and drop the UI buildings panel into there, and then on enable, it would have its own instance. I actually think that's what we want. We don't want an instance of this. We want here. We can close this thing, I think. What's your problem? We'll just comment this out. So this one, didn't I just comment everything out? No, this is the description. Get the fuck out of Dodge. I keep saying get the fuck out of Dodge too. What is this thing's problem? Oh, right. So we got rid of that. So everything's going to be busted. It's fine. Okay, this is the one that we want. We want an instance of the UI this thing. So this is actually going to be up here, and we'll just drag and drop this in here. UI buildings panel, because there's there's the possible buildings panel is going to use this, and so is the so is the other thing. Panel refresher. So this is just on enable. It's going to fire, it's going to refresh this stuff. So what is the panel refresher going to do? The panel refresher is going to need what? It's going to need to know the county it's in. No, the county that's currently selected, which is the county has a game object. So we're going to need a private. We're going to need a private. Get the fuck out of here. We're going to need a private. No, we're not. We're going to need a game object called county. And that's going to equal world map load instance currently selected county. Okay, so we're going to have the county that we're Yes, the county that we're refreshing the information from. And then the next thing we're going to need is good God. This is God. So, like, how many of these are there? 15 of them. I guess I could leave this up here just so it will shut the fuck up. We're not going to use this though. This is just left here so the bugs will shut the fuck up. And then we probably need it in awake or something too. Now you got more? Possible number. Well, it's a fucking A. All right, well, we won't fix this then. We'll fix it later. I was hoping we could not have to deal with all these bugs. So we're gonna need to do something. We're gonna need to do some compiling here. All right, so what it's gonna do is it has the county, and then it's gonna have the building. This is gonna be a game object too. Buildings parent. This needs to be what's passed in though, and this is going to equal up here. We're gonna need a game object. Buildings. Wait, how does this work? Currently, we'll have a list of the buildings under each county, but that's not what we're actually looking for. We're trying to get a prefab. No, that will work. So we're going to we'll do it like the opposite. Buildings, parent. Buildings, parent. This would just be, and then this one, we would just say, because this is attached to it, is going to be this dot game object. I guess we can just put game object. So it's going to put it, it's, no, it's not that. This is not that. Where is this thing attached? No. We're going to need another thing here, which I think can be private. Buildings. Oh, this needs to be a game object. Buildings parent. And this will be here, will be buildings. So it's going to pass that through to the building refresher, and it's going to instantiate for every building that's there. It's going to instantiate a UI thing and then assign itself. So what we need is a for loop for buildings parents dot count, no, children get count, fuck off, transform, get count children. There, we're gonna do this here. It's less than. What the fuck, man? Get child count. And then I plus plus when we get to that part. What's your problem? This doesn't need to be here right now. And this needs to be like this, but get child count is not gonna work for me. We'll just do this then. Int child count equals. Will that work? Why don't you like that? Do you mean to invoke the method? Oh, I'm just probably typing it wrong. In Unity, how do I get the count of the children? Child count. It's not get, it's just child count. What the fuck? Child count equals child count. All right, we got a capital here. Can I put this back over here now? I sure can. All right, so it's gonna go through, like, if there's 3 of those possible buildings, it's gonna go through and it's gonna do this 3 times. And so we're gonna instantiate, we're gonna call this we're gonna have a game object here called UI game object, and we're gonna call this we're gonna instantiate this motherfucker. Instantiate, and we need a prefab that needs to be up here. We can just use the same prefab. Game object, building prefab. They're almost identical, so I don't know why I was getting all. What the fuck am I doing here? Building prefab. Building And then we're going to also need the building's parents is what we're going through there. We're also going to need where this thing is being generated. So we are going to have those two things. Didn't I delete them? I guess I deleted them. Serialized field, private game object, possible buildings, parent, and then current buildings, parent. So we do need those. That's not that big of a deal though. And then we're going to go back up to here and we'll just assign those so I don't forget. It's not going to compile though because of these issues. Actually, yeah, these have like a scroll view or scroll thing on them. That we're gonna put in. Whoops, we're gonna put in. Game objects. And we're going to go back to this. We're going to pass in two things. Just um, I can't. I have them. Um, um, buildings scroll view parent or building scroll view. That's what it's called. It's called a scroll view. We'll go back to here and we'll call this possible building scroll view. And so then we'll just put this right here. Then we'll go back to here. We just need this to work on one of them. Oh, we can't go back to here yet. Maybe I'm maybe I am over trying to make this work for everything. Maybe we don't need these. The building prefab is going to work. This would be a nice thing to be able to test, but we have all these fucking errors here. Like, how many times did I use this fucking thing? Why is this changed? Oh. Possible, like, this is like current employees refresh. This whole thing is written really fucking terribly. It's because well, I guess it's not terribly. We're gonna have some weird shit that goes on from when every time you click this button, things are gonna change. But I don't feel like we did this right. So, and I keep saying we when I mean me. Yeah, that's not gonna work with this instance missing. All right, so let's go back and put this stupid fucking thing back. This thing needs to be here at the top. And this thing needs to be here. And this thing needs to be here. And then Whoops. Yeah, there's 10 references. We can comment out this thing, and then we'll put down here, this is the end of the bullshit. And then we still got, we don't need this. Like, I do like that I use some events here to cause things to refresh, and maybe we'll do that again. That's going to be kind of weird, though. All right, now this thing should have given us some more errors. If build button is just a couple of them. Oh, this thing, well, this building button. Guess we're going to rewrite this whole thing pretty much. Like I said, I kind of like that because you tear out so much code. And it like when it's done, it's generally better. It's not always better, but it's generally better. Okay, so we need this thing. Oh, it's actually like this. It's this. But that needs to go there. The building's parent. The fuck is this? Oh, we can't. That's not going to work. I will. It will. All right, but I gotta call it a day. It's already too late. I'm running late. I'm gonna have to finish this next weekend, or maybe I can squeeze it in a different day. But that's it for me. Oh, we gotta push this shit. God went off on a tangent to make the faction AIs work easier in the future. Man, we spent so much time on that those building panels, so we're redoing it. We just did this with the hero movement as well. Someone told me this guy Keto came into my chat once, and he said that I told him I'm expected to rewrite everything at least once, and he was like, expect it to be like 3 or 4 times. So we're in the twice, and then we'll go from there. But thank you for joining me. I'll talk to you guys next time. Have a good existence. Bye.